We have the green. We have the orange, which could really use this. The little berries are fine, they're cadmiums, but this neutral area, if I think of the edge of the vase as right here, I can use that here. So I take my neutral color, which is right there, and the paper's totally dry, so now we're going to be popping in and spreading out. So I pop that in. I leave a little bit of the white, and I'm going to pop it in on the other side also. Now you should actually point your brush at the edge, because then you can control it. So notice when the paper's wet, you can just dab the color in. Now I have two things I can do here. I can follow an older way of painting used by the English watercolor painters called stippling. Or I could add water, like the California watercolor painters, and spread it with water. So I'm going to use a combination of both. I'm going to use the tap method, and I'm going to use spreading with the brush, with water. Now, I want to keep this paint on this brush, so I'm going to take my flat brush, clean it, and tap it on the rag, and just kind of come to the edge and give it a little wipe. See? It's a great way to do it. And the paint will follow, see, into where it's wet. Now I'm going to turn this little picture this way, because water runs downhill, as I've said before. So if you tilt it, I don't want to get rid of that white yet. I don't know why, but if I get rid of it, I'll never get it back. Now you'll see here, it's being a little stubborn because I waited a little too long. So I like this vertical idea, repetition or echoing. An echo is when you make the picture have a repeat somewhere. The verticals are here and here. I suppose the spoons, but really the spoons are the round part. I can get more verticals just by popping up like that, see? And maybe beside, it's going to be a shadow beside here anyway, so I'm just going to add a little bit right beside there. And soften the edge. Since it's almost gone here, I can clean that brush and I can soften the edge there. Okay, now I'm going to mix up something a little stronger. I'm going to take the phthalo, and by the way, if you want a really strong black, phthalo green makes a fabulous black. So to make our neutrals, I'm doing it once again. I'm mixing the green, and I'm not going to be using those colors pure anymore, so I can mix them all together. Now there's a very strong neutral, and what I do is just drop it in right there. There's our very, very dark. And I think I'll put one on this side too. Okay, and that really accents this little vase. And then another one along here. See, I'm just checking out, how does the paint disperse? It's soaking into the paper. I don't think I want one up there. But now I think what I'll do is I will take a look at my other little picture here and go for a little more orange. So I'm going to add a little more yellow to it. And at first it's going to look a little green, but as I add a little red to it, it'll orange up a bit. Okay, there's my brownie orange, and let's put that in here. It's quite thick, see? And we're going to do the same thing we did here, just by adding a little water. And then I'm going to clean the brush right off. And I'm going to come at it from here. Clean it off. Every time I clean it, I'm adding more water, you see? And when I add more water, the paint gets thinner, see? And I'm not disturbing it. Once you start rubbing, then you can get into trouble, because by rubbing on it, you disturb the drying process. I'm thinking I might bring this right around a little more, like right here. Why? Because this color here is far too light compared to this, and I want this darker. And by offsetting the dark and light, I'm creating some interest. You know what? I think I might just bring it right down here. There we go. Little bits work better than a lot. Okay, now the shadow. Which of the two would you use for the shadow for here and here? This one or this one? Well, for the orange, we would start with just a pure blue, because the opposite of orange is blue. And from observation, not from reading in books, although you can find it in books, the shadow always contains the opposite, a little bit of the opposite color of the object. Now I'm going to have to be a little careful here, because I got this little cherry here. I'm going to bring it right up in there. And I'm going for longer shadows, pretending maybe the light's coming through some window and it's in the evening, creating a little mood. Here I'm going to put a little blue into. And you'll notice it's got a little green tinge to it. Then I'm going to run a little bit up here, the blue, and a little bit of blue into here. Maybe a little blue in here. See, I'm just taking a little blue. Shadows traditionally are blue. They're cool. They don't have to be blue, but they're cool. Just adding a little bit of form to the cloth. Stronger color here, it's quite strong. And I want it, it's got to be cool, but I'm just going to put a little drop in right here. See what happens. Remember, it will dry lighter. There we go. And for the orange, let's get a little of this color, if I can find it again. Just need a little bit of the cadmium yellow light. It's a bit of an orangey color. There we go. With a little red. There we go. And we're just going to drop it right in here. And let that add a bit of blue to it, just a drop. There we go. And I let that dry. Matter of fact, I'm going to let everything dry. And I come along here with this. Oh, that's nice. That's the green. It's kind of a neutral green. I like it. Underneath this, let's see, you know, it's looking more like a window than a picture frame. I like that hard edge too. It sort of goes there. Okay, last thing for now, really clean my brush. And I'm going to put a super saturated orange color. And I'm looking over here at that one. So I'll take a little bit of this nice color. And you know what? I'm going to clean this up and head over here where the palette's clean. Add a little more yellow. And a little bit more alizarin. Add a drop of this. And I think that's about the right color. And I'm going to get rid of most of the color. Like that. And do a little dry brush. That's probably pretty dry. Right down the bottom here. Just put that. I don't know if you ever heard the word burnt orange. It's kind of a color. Look at that. And also right in here where the orange is tucked in beside the cloth. I've put it in. Now I clean it all off. All that effort for that little spot, but now I'm going to mix right on. So I'm going to make sure that's clean. So we're getting near the end of this session because everything's getting dirty. When things get dirty, it's time to get clean. So here's some pure cadmium yellow, just a little bit. I put it right on top with not even any water, just dry brushing it on, and now a little bit more. And now I'm going into the burnt orange and tapping it. The paint is a little thick, but not so thick that it would go against the rules of good watercolor technique. There we go. There's that little really bright little spot near the bottom, which you get when you look at an orange. Beautiful. Just going to take a break now because this kind of got a little out of control here, didn't it? Not to worry. All I have to do there is soften the edge. I didn't notice what that was doing. You know, paint can be a little capricious at times. I'm going to wipe that right into here. That's the beauty of good paper, is you can amend things. You can touch them and move them around. There we go. I think that's a little better. There. And let's let that dry for a minute. Move on after it's dry. Let's get back to our neutral again, and let's take this beautiful red orange and add a little bit of our blue color to it. And there we go. We have a fairly strong dark, which I'm going to put right one shot right there. See that reddy neutral? Beautiful. I don't want to put the red near here, but let me think. I'm going to clean it off. Remember, a little bit of paint sometimes works better than a lot. And I'm going to leave a little bit around the edges here. And just come down. Notice how I'm supporting my finger here. And just moving my fingers like this for the fine work on the spoons. I'm leaving this edge here. You know, I'm going to use a little graded idea here, and I'm going to put this one right in the shadow, except for one little spot. Now I'm going to clean my brush off while the paint is drying on the little spoon. I take a little water and I soften the edge. Gives it a little more of a 3D effect. Now this one here, I took a little more of it, see? And because it's wet, I'm going to drop it in. Remember, watercolors dry lighter. You know, if you have something really finicky, you can always use a colored pencil later. Colored pencils work great. Hey, we're getting some nice little bleeds here, see, because it was so dark and it wasn't dry quite yet. I'm going to see if I can get the same thing in this corner here. Yeah, see? That little mottled effect. You know, just watch that for a minute. And along the shadow here, a bold stroke. There. Why a bold stroke? Well, when you're getting really fussy, it's good to be bold. That's going to dry quite a bit lighter, so I wouldn't worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. Gonna put a little bit in here, because it is the table, or whatever it is. And you know what? I'm going to stroke that too. Now it is drying, so I'm going to soften the edge on that one. And soften the edge on this one. Once it's in there for a second, you can see what's happening there. That's nice. It's almost like wavy, which is fine. Next, we're going to enliven the cloth with some clean green. Now, to make a clean green, I think it's wise to make a clean spot on our palette to make the clean green. So I clean my brush really well. Best way to make a clean green is get a clean yellow. So by adding some very strong yellows in the shadow areas, you see, you'd think that they would be where the light is, but it's not true. The shadow areas have more saturated color than the light areas. Light areas meaning where the sun or the light is hitting. So think of where your shadow is going to be and put your strong color in there. And you'll see that it looks good. I think I need a little more yellow on here. Remember we were just adding some strong yellows on the orange? I just tap them on there. And maybe a pinch of red into it. There we go. And this is the light area, so I'm going to be keeping it less orange, just a little pinch in there. There we go. And I think I'll use the end of my brush, take my neutral color here, and just check it first. Yep. Just put a little dark spot right in the middle. There we go. How about those little cherries? You see how little I've done to this, right? We take, I think we used a cadmium, didn't we? There's a cadmium. And we'll take a little of the neutral. See, the neutral is sitting there. The neutral was just the mixture of, way back when we started, the red and the green put together. Okay. Now we put a little drop on one side of the cherry. There we go, for a little accent. Now, it's not red enough, so I'm going to add a little more red to it. I might even just take that off with my, there, that's even better. And here we go, just touch it. Ah, that's right, a little touch there. Beautiful. Let's go with that cherry color, a little bit of the base of this. Every time we darken, we get a more major chord, remember that. Major chord. There's a little echo of that over here, just a little bit like that. Keep the edges soft. Shadow edges are always soft. Now our orange needs a little more orange on it. So I'm putting some of the red over it. Just to create more of a stronger looking orange. You know, my cloth is just a little wimpy looking. I'm going to give it a good swipe. There. That's pretty green, but I'm not going to worry about that because I'm going to put a little bit of the green up here. And let it come down there. There, that warmed it up nicely. The window and here, still in conflict, but I can see that I can pull this down here. I might be able to pull a little darker down over here. Yes, sir. See, and those verticals are coming in. This here, a little bit there. Just subduing it a bit, making it a little bit less bright. I'm thinking that little white area is good there. Let's warm up the this with a little brown too. There we go. And we'll put one more down here. And a little bit there. And this kind of stops here, so I'm going to move that over a little. Oh, I don't think we want that brown up there. There we go. Make those spoons kind of stand out a little more. Okay, now I need that dark in there. And over the window. There we go. Could be an old cabin. And we'll deal with that window next.